Welcome, friends. Welcome, friends. Singular friend. We're out in the nature by a live stream, doing this live stream here. Got a guitar, got our instruments, and we are here to just be here. Yeah. What a wicked good time. So our intention here today is to go to the forest, allow ourselves to connect deeper with stillness, do some qigong, a sub-perpetually slow cadence. What's good, brother? We are in Eagle Mountain Forest. So it's a forest in Coquitlam, British Columbia. Yeah. Right now I'm just wandering, got my guitar, got some of my instruments. Yeah, this is the move. Yeah, let's set ourselves up. Hope you guys are having an awesome evening so far. You're allowing yourself to just connect with your somatic body, connecting with stillness, and yourself regulate your nervous system. All right, we've situated ourselves here. Got this portable tripod. All the tripods. Not sure the angle is for that, but clear quartz. It's crystal, yeah. This is not. I think this is quartz. I don't know. Yeah, I think it is quartz. It's a crystal ball. Let's just set this up. I think the best way to do this, probably situate you guys in this beauty here. What is poppin', friends? Welcome to this YouTube stream. YouTube streams I feel are very interesting because they're how do I say, they're basically so diverse. You can do literally anything. You can do anything and nothing, right? We could just be like chilling and talking, can perform music, and it's all about the intention, right? It's all about whoever desires to sort of like, create something, some sort of portal. And do some of these. Get blood flowing. Handstand push-ups for the algorithm. You know how it is. It's funny, handstand push-ups, I feel like they have a very unique quality where it's the act of being upside down, right? It's like circulating your energy, circulating adrenaline. It's very healthy. It's healthy for the spine, healthy for really just your lymphatic system and everything. But yeah, there's something magical about them, I must say. All right, welcome to the rivers. We've made it, friends. We're here. There's nothing more beautiful, personally, than flowing to the sound of water. And whether you're dancing or you're just being. Welcome to the forests of Westwood, friends. Just pushed the earth 1 centimeter. Yeah, bro. Something's going on there. The optical illusion, this is the way I like to look at it, is our perspective is everything, right? It's kind of like when we understand why lucid dreaming is sort of like philosophically connected. It's like, why do often more of us not lucid dream, right? Just by default. Well, it's very well known as we're basically reinforcing non-lucidity, right? We believe that this is all real. We reinforce that all of this is real. Everything we do, every thought, every perspective, we're just very convinced that this is in fact real. This is reality, right? And it makes sense, right? We never question it. Is this real? Is any of this actually real? Is this perception real? And this is why, in part, why this is such an interesting prop, is it actually gives you an optical illusion, it gives you a different perspective where suddenly you get to see just how malleable, how formless your visual field really is. Everything is just like an illusionary piece. It's like this is kind of reinforcing the idea that reality is an illusion, showing you optical illusions. If that makes sense. It also just feels good. It's a fun, interesting way to create almost like a state of flow. Beautiful. Well, I'm happy you're here today. Let's see. Let's angle this a little more naturally. Let's pop it. Yeah, I'm curious. Pushing the earth 1 centimeter. It's all in the mind. It's all in the mind. Interesting. So Joe Dispenza, page 104, he's expressing about the imbalance of the energy centers. Let's see, so how He says that the lower energy centers, the three energy centers, are connected to survival. So they represent our selfish nature, question mark. They're about using power, aggression, force, and competition so we can survive the conditions of our environment long enough to consume food and to nourish ourselves, and then procreate, to keep the species going, as opposed to the upper five centers, which represent our selfless nature and are concerned more with altruistic thoughts and emotions. Nature has made these lower three centers very pleasurable so that we keep engaging the actions related to them and what they represent. So having sex, the first center, and eating, the second center, are quite enjoyable, as is connected and communicating with others is also the second center. Personal power, the third center, can be intoxicating, including the success of overwhelming obstacles or overcoming obstacles, which is getting what we want, competing against others and winning, survival in a particular environment, pushing ourselves to move our bodies around. You can see why some people may tend to overutilize one or more of their first three centers, and in doing so, consume more of the field of vital energy and information surrounding the body. So for example, an overly sexual person draws energy from the field surrounding their first center. A person trapped in shame or guilt who feels victimized holds on to the emotions of the past and constantly suffers in consuming excess energy from the energy field surrounding their second center, and so holds onto the energy of that center. Or the controlled or stressed person pulls additional energy from the field surrounding a third center. When our consciousness is not evolving, neither is our energy. Deeply contextual, weaves into a lot of different parallels, but there we are. Welcome, friends. Hope you're having an awesome day so far. I hope you're allowing yourself to step outside of the programming. See the dopaminergic programming for what it is. Let yourself really just enrich and empower your experience with awareness. I think it's really crazy. Some people say awareness in itself is transformative. And it's interesting to see that, to think that, see this in action, where just to introduce awareness, to realize to some degree that you're sort of locked in some sort of patterning. Maybe that's not serving you. Maybe you're feeling you're unconsciously scrolling through social media. And you desire to just allow yourself to just introduce awareness, heighten your awareness to this. It's really just introducing that awareness suddenly. It can really just transform your entire reality very rapidly. We have so much ability in just returning to the present moment. This is the thing. I remember I speak of this openly with friends, right? Sometimes if I'm just hanging with a friend or maybe with a romantic partner, I'll sometimes just breathe. I'll just sit. We'll be partway through a conversation and I'll just do this. Which is just Qigong, right? I feel like you need lithium. I feel like we all need a little bit microdose of lithium, yeah. If you study health science like I do, you'll actually learn that lithium, dietary elemental lithium, in a microdose, is often found in certain types of food, and a lot of us are actually deficient. But anyways, yeah. Thank you for sharing your whatever that is. But yeah, anyways, what I was saying was, the moment to hold space for yourself. Like, you realize that at any given moment, you're allowed to just give yourself permission to breathe, take a step back. If you're in the middle of an interaction, you're engaging with someone, say you're on a date or something, or you're maybe hanging out with a friend or hanging out with a social group, you're allowed to give yourself permission just to pause, just to be, present with your energy, to feel into your breath. You're allowed to do that. That's how really just like heightening awareness and introducing presence throughout your day. This is like a very, very common and healthy practice. This perspective of everything is worth watching. He's on YouTube. Thanks, bruv. Or Miss. Mika. Miss, yes. Appreciate you, Mika. Yeah, I'm a YouTuber guy. I'm a YouTuber fellow dude. At least that's what I've decided to devote myself to. That being said, I have to say, I'm not necessarily special. I mean, I'm a very unorthodox dude, without a shadow of a doubt. But yeah, I mean, all of our perspectives. Wow, there's ants everywhere here, or whatever these things are. All of our perspectives are very important. All of our perspectives are valuable. His perspective, my perspective, like, it's kind of like, I think YouTube is a very interesting social experiment where when you become a YouTuber, right, you kind of come to this core conclusion that, well, for what I see is everyone's opinion matters. Everyone has value. That's the core thing, is everyone has value. Everybody. Now, whether you have your value be perceived by, that which desires to perceive your value, that's a whole nother story. It's kind of like that quote of, you can judge a fish on its ability to walk or something like that. It's very much that, right? If people are not perceiving your value, if you're not being valued in the environment you're in, does this mean that you have no value? Absolutely not. So all of us have value. Now, whether we go on that sort of quest to allow ourselves to find our community, find our people, receive and be valued by the people in our lives, that's a whole nother question. And again, this kind of all full circles around, I think, the quest of being a YouTuber. Often as a YouTuber, the only thing that separates me from, maybe the odd person that's thinking about becoming a YouTuber, not pulling the trigger, is, I'd say, discipline and perseverance. Literally just the ability to be like, how can you objectively sit and step outside of yourself, introduce some self-awareness and just persevere. It's the same reason I have played guitar for 16 years. Is like, I've never been naturally talented at guitar or any musical experience, truthfully. Never. As a young, like 9, 10-year-old, I didn't know shit about guitar, right? I was the most like rudimentary. It took me like 6, 7 years to even get any progress in guitar. But what I'm simply saying is that endeavor taught me perseverance. As a young kid, it taught me that it doesn't matter what skill level you're at. It doesn't matter, if you try and fail over and over and over again. You have to basically just see what happens when you never give up. It's like what Naruto says, right? You just gotta never give up and believe in yourself. Naruto had it right. Yeah, Naruto had it right. We're going to take a moment here to do something sort of unorthodox. But also, as I've expressed, this is the reason I'm here. Is I'm here to kind of just share with you my Qigong practice. We're here in the forests of Westwood. Nobody around for miles. As per usual, it's very beautiful. Gotta love Westwood. And basically what I want to show you is I did this a lot yesterday when I was at the gym, right? I was at the gym for about an hour and a half. And every time I end my strength training sessions, what I do is I do a mixture of handstand push-ups and Qigong, right? And what Qigong is, I've explained this on the stream before, right? Qigong is the practice of basically learning to integrate your movements. So, I think it's a very interesting practice because a lot of us, you might think of Qigong, or you might see, people doing like some forms of Qigong and Tai Chi, right? It's got my pile of all my stuff just hanging about. But the idea is, truthfully, Qigong and Tai Chi, right? Again, the core practice is to learn to steadily and gently integrate your movements. Integrate your entire neuromuscular system, which is your entire body head to toe, and how your body basically fires and calibrates your nervous system, right? This is your somatic nervous system. You know, whether you're doing like a martial form or you're dancing, or you know, maybe you're doing movement training. But you see the key practice, like if I were to tell you, hey, let's do some qigong, right? Most people quintessentially, if you were to try to do this, steadily, patiently, gently, perfectly in sync, perfectly fluid. Letting yourself in no rush, no thoughts, no rigidness. Just let your limbs stream through your experience. Even if you're like, okay, I'm going to move this way. How gently, how patiently can you integrate these movements? It's like perpetually slow. That's the practice. That's a huge part of it. Now, when you first probably learn Qigong or Tai Chi, you're probably going to do it like this, right? You're going to be like, and that's technically beautiful. That's perfect. You know, you do some forms. You're just like learning to weave in your movements. Maybe you'll rush yourself. Maybe you'll convince yourself that it's got to be quick. It's got to be rapid, you know, to achieve fluidity. But the core practice within this is always slowing down, right? It's always learning. Like, this is the thing, is I've done Qigong for about 5-6 years now, right? And you can do the forms, like you can follow a YouTube tutorial, you can, you know, follow a Qigong class, and everyone will maybe go at like some sort of pace. But I'll be perfectly honest, I think the core actual practice of Qigong always is to do it as slowly as humanly possible. So this is what I'm sort of showcasing here is, you know, when I was doing Qigong after my gym session, I was also exhausted. You know, I did strength training till destruction, handstand push-ups till destruction for an hour and a half. So my body was physically tired, and this was perfect. Because as it is, you know, practice. Like, imagine if you can just sit here and perfectly, slowly and fluidly let your body, your limbs, you know, float through the movements. Gently breathing, letting your thoughts just disappear completely. All you're focused on is feeling into the subtle sensation. It's literally it. You're suddenly just being. You're not thinking. Everything's slow. You have full permission to just disappear into a sub-perpetually slow realm. A realm that's softened. It softens your thoughts. It softens your dialect. That's like the cardinal practice of this, right? And, you know, once you'll notice, as I do this, right, my entire body is pulsating. You know, from my hands to everything, it's all just pulsating. It's all flowing through. And surely, again, like when I'm speaking of these things, I'm trying to just like poke holes in your perspective and be like, these are things that take time. You know, Qigong takes time to integrate. It takes an immense level of patience, a type of patience that most people who are programmed in this modern society are very removed from. You know, it's like if you were to sit there, I'd rather tell you, hey, like let's hang out for 20 minutes and just move in a sub-perpetually patiently slow pace. Most of you, if not all of you, would be like, that's insane. That seems impossible. That doesn't seem appealing. That doesn't seem fruitful. But I'll tell you, it is. It's powerful. Yeah. And for those of you watching, again, I invite you to sit with a meditative energy in your day. You know, ask yourself, when's the last time you really just sat in pure blissful ecstasy in the stillness of no mind? Truly. Because, you know, this is the thing. Like, we can sort of continue to philosophize this for those that desire to hear this. A lot of us, you may not necessarily understand that the key isn't within not action. The key is within stillness. This key is within no mind. You know, there's a lot of people, like, let's just get to a more intellectualized level, right? You know, if you guys want to be intellectually stimulated, which seems that, you know, most people, we like to sort of cognize. We like to think with our mind. We like to see things in a very visceral way. A lot of us are suffering. We're struggling, right? You know, we don't understand why we struggle and suffer to make very intelligent decisions. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. I don't know the majority of who's here, right? But if you're a person that's finding yourself struggle for whatever reason to make intelligent decisions, like really powerful, meaningful, you know, life decisions, right? There's part of you that sits there and it's like, why, for whatever reason, why have I lost this like intuitive alignment with how I make intelligent decisions in my life? And as men, as human beings, but as men, this is literally everything. Like, if you don't have the ability to make like concise, clear, decisive decisions, you've lost a fundamental essence of what it means to be a human being. And what I would invite you to see is the core reason for this is you're not honoring the no mind. You're not honoring stillness. You're not basically, I'll be perfectly honest, some of the most pivotal, life-changing decisions that I've made, like major decisions on how I desire to unravel very massive pieces of my life and part of my livelihood, have been made and only been made within moments where I completely surrendered to honoring stillness. You know, it's like you basically, there's certain truths that will only surface when you truly let yourself slow down, honor stillness. You know, it's like you sit in reflection. It's almost like the quintessential picture we paint of, you know, a person's maybe going through a lot in life and then they slow down and go to some like meditative retreat or some monastery to kind of reflect with monks or something like that. You don't have to do that per se. But what I'm saying is there is truths that you only find within slowing down. Why? Because a lot of our society has hyper-stimulated everything. It's hyper-stimulated you. I believe logic is essential for men. Logic is powerful, yeah. The logical mind, the logician, dude, it's akin with the philosopher. The logician is the philosopher, right? You know, it's like the ability to think, to see, to discern, to think critically. Yeah. We see a homeless man say something that makes sense and it actually blows up the internet. Sure. Yeah. Well, I mean, he's just a human being. Like the dude who's homeless, he probably does have wisdom. Not all of them. Not everyone. But again, a lot of us, it takes almost like think about it like this, friends. A lot of us, myself included, right? I remember being in phases of my life, and because I've been fortunately in a place where I've been very blessed to have lots of like support, lots of nourishing, healthy relationships, and, you know, just invitations that force me to slow down, right? I've been fortunate to look at my life and like, wow, I've been fortunate to nourish my life and cultivate dimensions of truly slowing down and honoring stillness. And I'm telling you, when you live in this, you know, hyper-stimulated society, basically a lot of us, we chase that stimulus. We chase that stimulus endlessly until we burn out and break down. Like a lot of us, that's what our nervous system just does by default. That's the programming. We think we go. We hit these breaking turning points. We burn out, break down. We're forced to learn to slow down. Then we honor that, and then we repeat. We repeat these patterns. We go, go, go. We follow that rabbit hole, or go on that, that's what's the called? That hamster wheel, just endlessly chasing, endlessly chasing. Go, go, go. Burn ourselves out, have a breakdown, and then we pick up the pieces and we wonder, what happened? How did this happen? Well, the answer is clear. You literally were your body was inviting you to slow down. Your body was inviting you to cultivate something that is beyond this endless stimulus chase, right? And I've seen this endlessly. And sadly, I'll be perfectly honest, if I want to be very transparent, I don't know, I've always been an enemy of relaxing. Yeah. Well, of course you are. I mean, everyone is. This society's programmed you. The normality is to be an enemy of relaxing. That's what I'm saying, is the most profound truths will come to you only in stillness. Psychedelia teaches you this. Honoring your body and having transcendent breakthroughs, for lack of a better word. It teaches you all the same thing, right? It teaches you to honor and listen to your body. It's not that stillness is necessarily always the answer, but your body is trying to tell you. Your body's a wise thing. Your body is an ancient, wise vessel. It's trying to teach you and tell you things. And when you don't listen to your body, you don't listen to your natural, intuitive response of your body being, okay, now is the time to surrender into stillness, into relaxation, into warmth, right? It's then we just burn out. Yeah. I feel like you can be satisfied. I feel like you can be satisfied and pursuant. Sure. Yeah, no. I don't know. I think, again, Floyd, you have to understand, brother. I'm a lifelong martial artist, an athlete. A very, a very tenacious dude. I grab life by the balls, so to speak. I'm freaking on shit, man. For many years, I'm grinding and grinding. School, 4 hours or 3 hours of martial arts, guitar, go to bed. Repeat, rinse and repeat for years and years. I used to be addicted, for lack of a better word, to just grinding, thinking success was on the other side of just working harder, of just, getting in multiple hours of this and burning myself out over and over and over again. That's how I used to live my life. Strangely enough, that's when COVID happened. And then I had no choice but to surrender. I had to just stop training martial arts. I had to stop doing school full time. I had to stop working my job. I had no choice but to just sit with my energy. Did magic mushrooms, spend excess times in the forest, wrote music all day long. And, that was several years ago. But I'm just simply saying that the normality is for us to act relaxing, stillness is some sort of thing to be evaded, or some sort of there's some weird paradox of but is this serving me? Is this really what I need to do? I'm telling you, from a guy that's for most of my life, I was grinding, going a million miles an hour. As a dude, for the last 8-9 years of my life, or 7-8 years, I've fortunately learned to cultivate stillness. This is why I'm succeeding in the way I'm succeeding. Degrees of success. This is why I'm able to succeed, make clear decisions, make powerful and intelligent decisions that align with my intuition and have higher visions, is because I've finally transitioned in learning to honor stillness. I'm a radically different person than I was 9 years ago. And, as we all are. We're all changing and evolving, but I'm just saying the key is clear, right? The key is, in many rights, you gotta find the time to honor stillness, understand the role of stillness, understand the role of warmth, of, it's almost like the role of feminine energy in the larger capital definition of the universe. Feminine energy is warmth, right? It is gentle, it is soft, it is yielding, it's surrendering, right? Obviously, women are feminine energy in their deepest expression, the most divine expression. But, yeah, in every right of how that is, without getting too transparent, it's obviously for men that are often holding space for the feminine, you learn very quickly that, when you just devote your time and you spend excess time where the feminine allow you to just surrender into softness, it becomes clear as day. You're wow, There's a role to just grind out, push yourself, apply yourself. There's also a time to just slow down, to honor your nervous system, to just let yourself, honor the process of just, of stillness. Of course, it doesn't have to be just in relationships of sorts. I mean, we can do that in the solitude and the love of ourself, within the nourishment of ourself. Traditionally, you had two paths, but of action and that of contemplation. Traditionally, you had two paths, that of action and that of contemplation. Traditionally. Interesting. I suppose that makes sense, but elaborate if you may. What do you mean by traditionally? Do you mean the last 100 years? Do you mean the last 1,000 years? Like when we were as tribal beings, as tribal beings, you're saying traditionally we were like hunters and gatherers, right? What I'm saying is you can take action and be satisfied with life and everything. With life can everything. Bro, again, I think you're misconcepting this. He's right. What he's talking about is people who think versus act. Yeah. That's not what we're talking about here. Yeah. Contemplation is not the same as learning to understand sort of how to successfully nurture and reflect. Because again, I don't know, I sort of get what you're trying to attribute. It's probably like you're trying to poke this hole and be like, hey, bro, it's a thinker versus a doer. But I don't know about you, bro. If you look at the essence of the path of action to God is that of the warrior. The path of contemplation is that of the monk or priest. Right. Almost people should stream like this. I don't think so, bro. I think homeless people streaming is probably the reason why YouTube has created boundaries. But I don't know, I suppose what you're trying to advocate, but I think you're missing the point. Yourself, Catman, that is, Floyd, growing, you're missing the point, and I feel for you. But again, this is also a philosophical bend. You can choose to see these things. I don't think many people for most of their life even see these things. This is not a, brothers and sisters. You realize that, most of my life has been devoted to action. I've spent 10, 12 years training martial arts, 16, 17 years honing music. I'm a devoted athlete, many things. I believe in action. Trust me, I believe in action. I'm not, we're not questioning action versus thought. No, it's about almost understanding the role of basically learning to regulate your nervous system and honor sort of an ancient way. Again, this is a thing that I almost think it's getting lost, but that's okay. That's okay, friend. Take that as literally or metaphorically as you will. Yeah. Part of traditional school philosophy, which is more returns to the world traditions. Yeah. It seems though, why do you think there's a split to Catman? It almost seems like you're very solely convinced that a person actually doesn't have the ability to acquire both, to cultivate both, right? I think there's a lot, maybe. I mean, again, I don't know the way your mind is comprehending this thing, but what I'm speaking about is the ancient way. I think this is it's almost like an ancient way of cultivating these things, of honoring the time for your body and your ability to act. Again, I think what I'm simply saying, without skating around, is I'm speaking of Taoist, Taoism. I'm speaking of a lot of ancient Taoist precepts, embodying no mind, embodying non-action. Again, it's hard to explain it unless you truly get it. But yeah. But I hear what you guys are saying. You're expressing you're seeing some sort of, you're treating, this is a common fallacy that people do when they try to comprehend basically non-action. Non-action doesn't mean doing nothing. It doesn't mean being passive. It's the opposite. It's understanding how one actually acquires a larger domain to act based on understanding the role of non-action, right? Does that make sense? No. Of course. Of course one can have both. Yeah. To me, stillness saved my life. Yeah. Stillness is powerful. Like, this whole conversation was kind of started with me just trying to introduce the idea that in a modern society, we're reinforced this idea to constantly just engage in stimulus. Because no, I'm not saying that non-action or action is the only way, it's the only path. No, it's all about balance, it's all about integration. But in modern society, a lot of us, we've been sold this lie that we need to be hyper-stimulated, stimulated. Like a lot of us, we're like solely convinced, we're programmed that more stimulus is better. The more you're pushing yourself, you're stimulating, we're not understanding the fundamental ancient role of non-action. And again, this is aligned with ancient philosophies. And these aren't things that I think a lot of people, a lot of modern men, they recognize. They sort of look at things like, oh no, but I gotta keep on grinding, gotta keep pushing. They don't realize that it's about intentional action. It's about having moments of reflection where you take a step back and you actually make intelligent decisions from a place that is often from a place of stillness. Yeah. The Tao of Jeet Kune. It's very aligned, I would say, with Bruce Lee's philosophies. I'm not familiar with every part of that. For example, I'm just chiming in with my thought based on my reading. Nah, man, your thoughts are welcome, brother. I'm trying to comprehend sort of your idea, your definition of traditional, which I think is the same thing as what I'm saying. But again, I think what I'm trying to advocate is applying almost like an ancient traditional philosophy, right? If we say traditional, like, ancient Eastern philosophy to the modern man. Like, how can the modern man basically take a page from the ancient philosopher's book, which is pretty much, the core understanding of why we study philosophy in the first place. We are modern men. We're in modern 2026, right? We got to look at the plight and the actuality of what modern men are experiencing, or women, or all of us, humans. And this is what I'm trying to express. I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong, Floyd. I wouldn't say it's dystopian, dog, but you're right to some degree. We're not... I'm talking about maybe something that's not for everyone. We don't all have the leisure. Like, that's the thing that you're probably speaking to. It's sure, we don't all have the leisure to go, sit within stillness. The modern... And this is the problem. Like, I'll be perfectly honest. This is like articulating the problem further. A lot of people, modern men, for instance, because we're men, right? We've instilled this idea that it's like dystopian, it's otherworldly, it's almost like it's like some sort of fantasy to actually honor the ability to find stillness. Like, if I'm telling you right now, it's like, we're like, hey guys, like, yeah, I know you're working a 9 to 5, you're grinding it out, maybe you're going to law school, you're grinding it out, you're living in society, making dollar bills, et cetera, survivalist mindset, victimized mindset, and someone tells you, hey, you ever thought just going to go train in, with martial arts with monks? You ever thought, why not just go train meditation in the mountains with monks? Someone's like, oh, I did this, changed my life. They would look at you and be like, sure, that's possible, but also, it's just like seemingly impossible. It's seemingly almost like, seems so outlandish. It seems so unorthodox. It seems that you don't understand, not you, but like this person that would try to be like, I'm so addicted to the grind, to the 9 to 5. I'm so addicted to stimulus, to thinking that success is on the other side of stimulus, that they don't actually realize what it actually takes to translate into true success. And true success, full circle, comes from making intelligent decisions. How do you make intelligent decisions? You do so from a mind that is honoring stillness. I don't know. Again, you don't have to agree with me fully, but this is, I heavily stand behind what I'm saying. And if you've ever done magic mushrooms and sat with magic mushrooms, it's getting dark fast. Wow. Be still and know that I am God. Interesting. About victim mindset, hyperfixation, I don't know, something like that you said, overstimulation. More people are unique. Not everyone is the same. Sure. Life is beautiful. Sure. Yeah. Yeah. We're all unique, absolutely. But I don't know about you, man. We all do operate in a fundamental level. Like, if we're talking about the modern plight, like, this is kind of what this is a core theme that I circulate around, right? I'm not trying to skate around like, apples and oranges. I'm trying to be very clear and be like, hey, guys, like, there's some truths about the way our modern society is operating that is fucked up, that is maladaptive. It's not serving you or me effectively. Hyperstimulation, like being in a victim mindset, engaging in a hyperstimulus pattern to the day you die, these are not things that are serving you. These are broken models that are not supposed to be how humans are supposed to operate. And I agree, like, we're all on different parallels. We all have different journeys. We're all going to integrate these things at different times in our life. We have different minds. We have different psyches. But this is why I think it's important to think about these things and talk about these things, is because there are some underlying core reasons why we've gotten to this weird situation that we're in modern society. I really believe this. But I agree, there's some truth in it is good to embrace each other's differences. Embrace that what makes one person happy will make another person maybe unhappy. And, of course, we all have different journeys. These mosquitoes are out. I believe in the traditional knowledge of the Vedas, for example. I hear you, dog. I had a feeling you were leaning into Eastern philosophy in that realm. The doctrines from the ages of different cultures. I believe in the world of Kali Yuga, last age. Interesting. Well, what does the Veda speak to? I mean, I've only very briefly ever dipped into Eastern philosophy relating to Indian philosophy. That is the Veda. I studied that very briefly in philosophy in university. I personally loved studying it because I took away a few very core, very powerful things about understanding the nature of basically the integrity of a man's word, the integrity of a philosopher's word, as they called it, basically the authority, and how these words sort of, rung true over hundreds, if not thousands of years. And basically, how Indian philosophers would take a lot of time, basically not only understanding what the words of what the person said, but the integrity or the authority, as they defined it, of what the said philosopher was, and seeing how that changes and studying that. But I'm curious, again, all that being said aside, so your definition of traditional, talking about Eastern philosophy relating to the Veda. So they talk of the world as starting as a high point and going down in a long cycle, same as the Greek concept of golden age, also as in generating. Interesting. Well, that's pretty interesting, I'd say, I suppose. But I mean, what's your take, Catman, about how that applies into almost like where that is exactly applying to the modern context? Like, maybe we don't need to address 2026 because it's been a wild year. Let's be real. 2026 has been a lot. But how do you think the modern society, like the modern generation, right, the last 10, 20 years, how do you think, what kind of lessons do you think, ancient lessons from the Veda, if I'm pronouncing that right, yeah, how do you think that can apply to the modern struggle? Like, what do you think ancient wisdoms that we could apply to the modern struggling man or woman, of course? Like, what do you think the ancient wisdom that they knew that we can actually extract and apply to this modern 2026 plight? I'm sure there's so many. Of course there's many. I'm just curious what you think, because, I really like to look very openly. Obviously, we're facing unique struggles, like 2026, last 20, 30 years. My generation, probably younger, I'm not sure what your generation is, but a lot of us, we're in a very unique time of very unique struggles. struggles that our ancestors could not even begin to imagine. But of course, there's some truth in how it repeats, but I don't know about you, the hyper stimulated, oversaturated, like technologically oversaturated world we're in, this is a unique struggle that our ancestors never had to deal with, not even remotely into the degree. Like, think about it like that. It's like, I mean, surely ancient philosophers, I don't know exactly when the Vedas were, the Veda was, I'm sure it's universal, but like Aristotle, Socrates, you remember Aristotle, Socrates, all these ancient philosophers of the last 1,000 years, they were birthed out of such massive arrays of turmoil, right? Like, these were men that literally only were so dedicated and devoted to philosophy because they realized how dark this world is. Like, these were men that were like, wow, we're in such dark times. Like Friedrich Nietzsche, his nihilism. That dude is a perfect example. I don't really resonate a lot with Friedrich Nietzsche, but what I'm simply saying is philosophers are birthed out of extremely turbulent times. And what is the new philosophical realm of where we are in 2026? We're facing completely new struggles that our ancestors never knew, like a completely new realm of struggle. And this just invites us to recognize this. It doesn't mean we have to, feel like this is good or bad. It's not great, but it's like we're in a unique time. We're in a very unique time with unique struggles. And I think it's important more than ever to like learn to honor the ancient lessons, and then of course honor where we're at as humans. Alone makes going for the Buddhist route. Okay. Or else go to church or a mosque. Occult practice. Okay. Is engaging with the traditional mysteries and knowledge the best way one can with their personal and cultural baggage. Interesting. Personal and cultural baggage. So you're suggesting go to the route of trying to engage more in literature, maybe going to the Buddhist route. So disconnecting, Buddhism, engaging in solitude, honoring core values, and then you're saying connecting more with the best way you can with the personal and cultural baggage, traditional mysteries. So yeah, like connect with community. It's also about engaging with traditional mysteries. Yeah, I think I agree. I skipped you're saying go to a church or mosque. So maybe like trying to find genuine dimensions of spiritual community, which is a tricky one in 2026. And so it's engaging with traditional mysteries. I can agree with that, traditional mysteries. And that it's interesting what you said about that, the best way you can with personal and cultural baggage. Cultural and personal baggage. Cultural baggage. Interesting. Okay. Did I ever read The Odyssey? I don't think so. Does not sound familiar. The Odyssey. Is it just like regular literature, or is it like... It's getting dark out here, ladies and gentlemen. I think Nietzsche, I think I'm botching it. Last Man is Here is some time since reading him, but I think this applies to the modern world. Yeah, I haven't read much Friedrich Nietzsche, but I really like him and his philosophies and what his message, like his symbols, or his spirit, his like undying will to see things as they are, even in a really dark world. It's beautiful. Like, gotta respect that. Gotta respect that level of, like, almost going against the grain. Welcome, Stargazer. Welcome, Stargazer. The Odyssey is one of the most famous pieces of Greek literature ever written. Interesting. I think I've maybe come across it, but I don't think I've read it fully. The Odyssey. Yeah, it sounds familiar, but I don't think I've actually read it. It's interesting. So just out of curiosity, like to clear this up, to be kind of like very forthcoming. So do you disagree on some fundamental level? Like, was there a disagreement out of curiosity? Like you're 100% open to disagree with sort of some of the core precepts of how I was trying to layer what I feel like the modern person is sort of lost within. It's almost like the modern plight of hyperstimulus, of not learning to just like honor the stillness, the non-mind. Is it like Where's the guitar? Where's the guitar? It's right beside me, my dog. The guitar is always close. Or do you fundamentally disagree? You think there's a larger... Sure, yeah, Catman. I mean, Catman, Floyd, I'm just curious. It's like, it's not maybe that you disagree, but you were curious, you wanted to elaborate further. You think there's a further piece of what I'm sort of introducing in my, my discussion or in my perspective that maybe isn't really like thinking deeper into the, thinking deeper into like, I guess maybe the traditional like ancient Eastern philosophy, like the Veda, for example. Like you're saying, it's like there's maybe a part of, yeah. I don't know. You're probably right. You're probably right. Like I'm just a dude, right? I'm just a student of philosophy, and I like to get all philosophical as fuck. But I'm also a very solitary individual. It's like I think my spiritual conquest is often a very solitary experience. Maybe with like romantic partners, maybe with select people. But I think what I as an individual have often never truly experienced is a genuine level of like deep community of devoted spiritual realms. And I think the ancient, Indians, the Veda, the ancient like historical culture that's literally been about connecting in a community of religion, it's something I could surely take a page from. I just like seeing what you think, because this is the type of stuff I'm interested in. Word, that's awesome, brother. That's beautiful. I think about that a lot. I think deeply of that. And in truth, again, I think what I take away from what you're saying with an open heart is, I personally, like, here we are, like, even me speaking with you guys, right? These are usually philosophical realms that I explore endlessly by myself. Only since I've been doing live streams where I, do guitar, teach guitar, go on metaphysical little realms. This makes me so happy to do, because I love this shit. Like, I love deep diving. I love entering philosophical realms. I love, seeing how broad this becomes. This is a very like, it's a very healthy thing to do. And I think what I'm simply saying is, what I take away from sort of what you're saying is, I think I, on the deepest level, desire to not only spiritually open my mind and heart, but open my heart to community as a whole, like community on a spiritual context. And I have to wholeheartedly agree. I'm a solitary dude. I've spent so much time in so much solitude, maybe within the space of another, but I feel like it's almost like a foreign entity for me to even imagine, a whole culture or a massive array of a culture of people that are all spiritually connecting, spiritually lifting each other, spiritually and communally coming together. That's like a foreign entity to me. So it intrigues me, I'd say. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Beautiful. Just seeing what you think, yeah. I feel like I can't generalize, you know what I mean. Yeah, I get you, man. Honestly, bro, it's like, it's a weird thing to try to sometimes communicate, like verbalize, that is. Like, verbalize deep truths or deep verbalize things. I'm surprised half the time. Like, I'm honestly just as surprised as you guys half the time. Where I'm like, whoa, like that came together in such a way. Because sometimes things are supposed to be ineffable, A lot of things we're not supposed to have, like the intellectual mind likes to pretend like it understands things, and and it can communicate these things to some degree, but language is limiting. And it's good to sometimes take a step back and be like, okay, language is beautiful. It's a powerful tool. It can get you far. You can communicate and articulate things. Magical. But of course, let's not pretend that language is the end all. And yeah. Again, what I'm simply saying is, I actually decided to record a video about this only when I went on my quest to become a YouTuber. did I start to actually like really unapologetically pull these threads to start to articulate myself, to start to communicate the way I communicate. And that's like the last like 7 years, right? It was almost like becoming a YouTuber was like a spiritual quest of me learning to awaken my voice. You know, it was like learning to unblock my throat chakra, if you will, if we're gonna go through chakras. But the reality of it is, that's the actual truth. Is like, for many years of my life, I was a nonverbal dude. Like, I believed in introspection. I believed that most of the profound parts of life are beyond words. And I still believe this to some degree, but it's a process to learn to pull those threads to awaken your voice, to communicate, you know, yourself, what you feel, what you mean, and honor that, right? And that's kind of part of what this channel is like, I'm trying to just like invite people to strengthen their ability to communicate, express their voice, you know, just realize it matters, realize it's like, it's beautiful, it's a beautiful thing that you can honor. Talking about metaphysics is very hard. Renee Junian is the best I've ever come across. I gotta write down that name. Yeah, metaphysical philosophy is weird, but I think once you get to the core of what it's trying to point towards, it's not so complicated. I mean, it's complicated, sure, but it's not. There's universal truths about metaphysical philosophy if what we're talking about is the same thing, which I think we are. And I think once you get to some sort of center awareness of what like the core things that people are trying to decipher and to communicate in metaphysical philosophy, then eventually you can just riff. Like, you can be like, oh, okay, like I think there's a deeper thread that we can pull in understanding this and applying it in our lives. But of course, metaphysical philosophy as a whole, or metaphysics, is it's a thing that needs to be felt. It needs to be experienced. It needs to be lived. Like, you can't, you can try to understand it in theory, but it's only when you see it with your own eyes and you conceptualize it with your experience, or you conceptualize and apply it with your experience, then you can begin to connect the dots more thoroughly. And it's the same with a lot of philosophy, right? You know, you can philosophize all day long, but if you're not living and embodying that philosophy, then it's never going to make sense. It's never going to be integrating in itself. But once you integrate it, you're like, okay, I desire to, like, you know, live and breathe in the real world, you know, take action unapologetically. Then it makes a lot more sense. Right. I said earlier that you don't believe in time. I think what I said was humans perceive time. So it's like time is not real in theory. Like, it's kind of like, it's not that I don't believe in time. I say time is not real. Like, I'm saying it. It's not because I'm saying that, like, we experience time. Humans experience time. We've created this idea that time is real, so therefore it is. But it's just like a lot of the metaphysical dimensions of things. Just because we are collectively agreeing something is real and we're acting it out doesn't necessarily mean that's actually how the nature of things actually are. Time exists, absolutely. It's real in the 3D, in the human 3D world. On the larger construct of how things operate, which is beyond the 3D, in the 4 or 5D and beyond, then no, time is not necessarily, doesn't apply. And that's why a lot of people, you know, the simplest way we can look at it is we say the present moment is all that is, because that's true. You know? Future, past, not actually real. Like, in the greater construct, if we understand how things operate, it's not real. We believe it's real. We can tangibly tell ourselves, oh yeah, things happened. Like, you know, something existed. Right now, every moment that's happening, there was a past when something occurred. It's a reference point, but it's almost like if we look deeper, there is no future, there is no past. There's just this moment, and we're always creating it. I don't know, it's a mind fuck though. It's supposed to be a mind fuck. It's gonna be a mind fuck until it's not. All right, we're getting a little dark. It's getting a little darker in here. In these beautiful forests, the mosquitoes, they're starting to become, I don't know what they do. Whatever mosquitoes desire to do. All right, I think I have everything I need, yeah. We're back on the move. So I don't know why I just asked these questions. You said earlier then, this is how I cause and effect. Then how is there a cause and effect? So if time's not real, if I don't believe in time, how's there a cause and effect? Huh. How's there a cause and effect? Well, again, the perception of time, that's what I'm talking about. Cause and effect, whew, damn, I don't know, bro. Suddenly I sound like someone from the Boondocks for a second. Cause and effect. Cause and effect. Cause and effect. I think you're talking about quantum. What's it? What's the theory of relativity again? I don't know if you guys remember. I kind of remember vaguely. Theory of relativity, right? What's the time? Man, I think the theory of relativity is what you're reaching towards, Floyd. Like, and basically, the theory of relativity, if we understand it correctly, let's see, mass times something blah. I don't know, bro. I'm not an astrophysicist. I'm not your astrophysicist. I'm just a YouTube guy. I'm a musician. I'll come back to that, though. I'll come back to that. We'll look into the theory of relativity and get back to you. It's a measurement created by a man to give an understanding about it. Well, that's precisely right. That was my point in the simplest context is Einstein was a genius. And he was a genius at quantifying human dimensions. Like, he basically was explaining things that occur on the human realm. And he did a brilliant job of doing so. That doesn't mean that Einstein was trying to basically give us an indefinite ultimatum of being like, cause and effect is because of this, that, the other, and there's no other way to explain this. He was using his theoretical awareness of, physics to basically explain something to make it easier to understand and put a reference point to it. He's doing what humans do. We create reference points to make things easier to create conventions around them, So we basically have reference points to understand things. Doesn't mean that's the boundaries and borders of how things are. We are manifested. Want to understand that which manifests to beyond the physical world. I love where this is going. Yes, sir. We are manifested and want to understand that which manifests to beyond the physical world. You see, and these are things I think about all the time lately. And especially, I'll be perfectly honest, I started this stream earlier today where I was like, I had my first lucid dream ever. And, I wrote a video about that, or recorded a video about that, where I basically, deadass, what my video was about, if you watched it or not. I basically explained that, a little bit of a tangent here. I've been studying lucid dreaming consciously, about 6 months, reading books. I stopped doing any sort of lucid dream practice about 4 weeks ago. 3-4 weeks. And basically, somehow, I pushed the very idea of even attempting to lucid dream out of my mind. Forgot about it, wasn't thinking about it. And then suddenly, for whatever reason, I successfully lucid dreamed yesterday. First time in probably like 15 years of my life, lucid dreamed. It was very, very interesting. And I'm, to this day, most of today, I've basically been trying to almost like study the nature of why this happened. Like the nature of basically what I'm speaking of is when you read about dream yoga, Andrew Hulisek, he's the author. There's multiple worlds of thought of why people lucid dream. Now, the first world of thought is that it's a very intellectualized thing. That we're basically, if we study lucid dreaming, we reality check, we basically intellectualize the process of lucid dreaming. Eventually, our mind will do it. The second world of thought is lucid dreaming is a natural state of experience that we just naturally experience when we integrate spiritual practices that allow us to be lucid in our everyday life. Cutting off some blood flow there. But anyways, so what I'm simply saying is my brain basically intuitively integrated the underlying philosophical context. Basically, I was being lucid without being too word salady. It's like I basically was living a lucid reality, wasn't trying to lucid dream. My subconscious picked up on that. And therefore, I somehow lucid dreamed. Basically, I was embodying the practice. And anyways, drawing this back to what the homie's saying about understand that it manifests beyond the physical world. I'll be honest, my core reason why I study lucid dreaming is I personally find myself, like a lot of us, right? Oh, that's something on the screen. I'm very addicted, for lack of a better word, to the material world. And a lot of us, we think so heavily that the material world is all that is. And we so heavily believe it. And of course, why wouldn't we? We're reinforcing it with everything we do. Our sensory experiences affirming that the material world is real. If we were to try to emphasize the non-material, if we were to try to put in perspective what non-material is, it would really not even really process. It wouldn't really apply. Anyways, I'm kind of haven't refreshed the comments. Lovely to join you in the forest. Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother. Or sister. Yeah. That is very cool. I've been waiting to lucid dream forever. Never tried any long-term practice though. Dude, that's what's so crazy is I didn't even try to do it. I've been reading about lucid dreaming. I understand reality checks, perspective memory. I read about it for 6 months. Was enamored with it. And then I just stopped trying. I just told myself, I don't even know. I was basically reading about Joe Dispenza, quantum books. I forgot about my lucid dream book. Didn't even try to lucid dream for about 3-4 weeks. And strangely enough, as I experienced this dream, it was genuinely it was the most quintessential example of a lucid dream, where at some point in this dream, my subconscious mind just had a heightened awareness. And again, this is what I was kind of articulating is basically I just forgot about trying to lucid dream and just lived my life, lived my everyday life in a very present, very lucid way. It was almost unconsciously my mind was integrating the very practice of living lucidly. And what this looked like was just having fun, seeing my partner, doing tons of live streams, philosophical this, that, the other. And then, when I was in the dream realm yesterday, I had a very interesting metaphorical dream, that I spoke of, where basically it was my birthday. I was in my adolescenthood house and I was with my twin. And I had this pivotal moment where my mind made this very interesting connection. My mind was I remember it was I saw a birthday cake and I was talking about how this was not I was this has to be a dream. There's no way that this birthday cake would not be for me and my twin. It was a very strange little detail, but my brain immediately picked up on it. It was just I was this is not real. In real life, I'm celebrated. This must be a dream. And then my brain said, I'm inside of a lucid dream. I'm having a lucid dream right now. It just verbalized that out of nowhere. And then suddenly I went lucid. So it was very interesting where it's and then from there on, I started to shift the dream. I started to do these weird Matrix style gravity pushes to all the people around me. I was just whew, pretending I had some sort of superpower where I could push people with energy, and it happened. It was hilarious. But long story short, all I'm simply saying is it is astonishing once you begin to not only philosophically study lucid dreaming, which lucid dreaming in the simplest right? It's learning to study the relationship with the material world and the material world. It's putting the material world in perspective. How do you do this? By, as you are, basically philosophically identifying that this is a dream, philosophizing. And I'll be perfectly honest, kind of what we're doing right here. You know what I did last night for 3 hours or 2 hours and then did an hour before? I was on a live stream philosophizing, talking about metaphysical philosophy and XYZ. That's what I did before I went to sleep. So, I'd be apt to say that when the brain is just openly conceptualizing and applying and integrating the philosophy of, say, being lucid and applying this to lucid dreaming, your mind subconsciously then is able to be more lucid. It's not a conscious practice. It's just what Andrew Holosek's books speaks of in Dream Yoga. It's being lucid is a natural state that you achieve. Lucid dreaming is a natural state you achieve when you've integrated lucidity in your waking reality. How do you integrate lucidity into waking reality? Well, that seems to be something that is not as complex as you might think. Anyways, that's my point. That was my point of my video. Yeah, I think if you caught that, Rainbow, my dream was about, I was basically at a party. It was my birthday. And yeah, I was in my like childhood house. I was like around all these people celebrating, and then it was me and my brother's birthday. You know, this is what I was told. And again, there was a cake, and I remember like someone brought this massive cake, and it said "Happy Birthday, Brandon," which is my twin. And I remember sitting there, and I was just thinking to myself like, oh, this is such a beautiful celebration. But I was like, wait, this is a cake that says "Happy Birthday, Brandon." Where's my cake? Like, why doesn't it say "Happy Birthday, Ryan and Brandon"? I was like, this, in real life, I'm celebrated. I was like, this has to be a dream. This is a lucid dream. Like, cause that was the narrative. It was very weird. Like, you know, how did that occur? I don't know. But then that happened. When that happened, then I instantly went lucid. Yeah. How would memory work without time? How would stuff accelerate? There are many things. There are many. Is time is fake conflictions? I would love to answer that once I slow down and enter my house. But I'll be honest, dog, intuitively, memory is associated with the 3D, right? Time only exists in the 3D human reality, which is where we perceive time. But the concept of time outside of the 3D, which is actually where most things exist, like, that's the idea, is like, in the material world, in the 3D, yes, time exists. Yes, thoughts exist. Yes, human beings, as we are within the mind, the ego, the brain, this exists as it does. But outside of the 3D, outside of the human realm, that is where the larger, I'd say, substrate of how we are experiencing things and can experience things actually operate. So it's the same reason, dude, is like, the reason why we are not our thoughts, right? We are not our thoughts. We are not our identity. We aren't, right? This is a quintessential truth. This is how you basically enter transcendental meditation. This is, you know, a core thought to enter the quantum, right? Is you basically recognize that you are not your identity. You're not who you think you are. You're not the ego. You're not the mind. And yeah, that's often the first and the most fundamental barrier that people experience in this world. Like, we think we're our thoughts. We think we're our identity. We think we're our sensory experience that our nervous system is telling us we are. But once you suspend this truth, or this idea of truth, that's when you actually begin to see things on a deeper level. If that makes sense. All right, welcome back to the indoors. Flip on the fireplace because fire is awesome. Exhilarating. Okay. A little bit of natural, more like unnatural gold lighting. Man. Unnatural gold lighting. What a trip. Whew. Such an interesting immersion. Being outside, it's kind of like freezing, but it's like, you know, it's the natural world. I started lucid dreaming naturally at the age of 10. Just happened naturally. Very nice. I'm curious though, are you still lucid dreaming? You know, are you still lucid dreaming currently? And even further, the idea is, you know, a lot of these books, like this book, Dream Yoga, right? Dream Yoga. Basically, what it actually is expressing is lucid dreaming by itself is not actually inherently the path. It's not inherently the focus. The idea is dream yoga, as they say it, this is like the ancient Tibetan practice, an ancient Toltec practice, is basically spiritually integrating yourself within a lucid dream. So it's almost like you can unlock lucid dreaming, you could go lucid and basically experience the realm of lucidity, but not in an integrated way, not in a way, this is very bright, not in a way that's actually spiritually healthy or spiritually integrated. It's very bizarre. Like, it's such a thing that, and basically what it's saying is, in the realm of lucid, or sorry, the realm of dream yoga, is you need both. You need both. Like, you must have both, right? You can't just enter the lucid dream realm and expect to experience it in a harmonious way. At least that's what a lot of these dream yogi type people, that's what they're expressing. I started to lucid dream at the age of 10, so that, do you remember the dream better? Like a waking day, or how was the memory? I mean, I'll be honest, the memory was clear, it was very vivid, but definitely there were details where that was a little bit fuzzy. Like, I was like, that is basically what I'm going to say is, after I went lucid, I had control over the dream. You know, I had lucidity for about whatever we could consider, maybe like a couple minutes. I was lucid for a couple minutes. And then I basically, what I did, and I think this was actually a conscious choice, was I chose to enter non-lucidity. You know, I decided to enter, I shifted the dream to multiple different dream realms, which I remember doing. And then I went back to non-lucidity. Like, you know, I was like, okay, I've done my thing. I really loved that experience, but for whatever reason, I went back into non-lucidity. That's what I remember. So a lot of it, my mind was basically, I was non-lucid, I was experiencing a regular dream, I enjoyed the dream, I woke up, went very clearly lucid, had control over the factors of the dream, you know, shifted the dream, morphed the dream, and then went back to non-lucidity. So that was that. So we assure ourselves, though, through what we call time, regardless of the experience, maybe. It's all interesting. I love hearing people's beliefs and perspectives. Beautiful. That's a great perspective, Rainbow. That's why Neville teaches withdrawing the senses from the 3D, closing the eyes and being present. That's a great practice. That is a great practice, Stargazer. Yeah. Like, that is, you know, I'm a student of energetic practice, like truly, like I like to do Qigong, I like to feel into, you know, just sensory experience, but the simplest, right, what I'm saying is when we learn to enhance our sensory experience, magical things happen. You know, basically, I'm not speaking of as tantra, you know, whether we're talking about within the process of love making or circulating, you know, energy. It's like there's a lot that can be experienced by basically learning to stretch out our sensory experience. And you know, for a lot of us, maybe not people in here, but for a lot of people deep in the programming, that sounds kind of bizarre, almost outlandish. Like, if I were to tell you, all right, we're going to stretch out the sensory experience, especially when we're talking about intimacy, making love, you know? A lot of us were programmed to almost like exit this multi-sensory experience. Now, maybe fortunately, if you're in a fortunate position where you have a partner that's also open-minded and very extra multi-sensory and receptive to energies, you can create a container where you can experience multi-sensory things. But a lot of us, unfortunately, are programmed to not do so. What about meditating to lucid dreaming? Maybe. I feel it might be connected to the astral projection if this is real, or if that is real. Yeah, that's highly recommended. I mean, I highly recommend reading these books. I've recommended these a couple times, but Andrew Holisek, Dream Yoga, Illuminating Your Life Through Lucid Dreaming and Tibetan Yogas of Sleep. He has 2 books. But yeah, they're all about visualization techniques, meditative techniques. Like, pretty much every meditative technique you could think of is in this book. Like visualization relating to lucid dreaming, of course. So yes, meditating is like a phenomenal way of strengthening your ability to lucid dream. And I meditate sometimes, I do Qigong frequently, but I don't know, meditation is a deep rabbit hole that I'm just a student of. I'm very I can learn so much. Eventually, from my experience, you can be awake while your body rests. Yeah, yeah. Well, this is the thing. You see, the ancient dream yoga practitioners, or the, modern dream yoga practitioners they speak of, is the key is, if you're, say, a lucid dreamer, right? You're doing dream yoga, you're maybe you someday unlock dream uh, yoga, or you're doing lucid dreaming, right? Lucid dreaming can tax or feel taxing, right? You think, oh wow, I'm awake, I'm doing all these things in your dream state. The key to doing this successfully is you have to balance this with your waking world. That is, basically, if you are resting in your waking world, that is meditating, doing meditative practice, not experiencing excess stress, then when you're in your sleeping state, you can awaken and you can, do otherworldly things. You can maybe train, I don't know, practices, or, do whatever you desire to do. And it won't be very taxing because you're harmonious in your waking reality. So that's a huge part of dream yoga, is if you're a person that's, you know, not very well rested, you're very dysregulated, and you enter the lucid dream realm, 1000%, it's not going to be a very balanced or integrated experience. You have to basically honor the full practice, the full enriching integrated practice of that is dream yoga. And that's the cool, the Buddhas, the ancient Buddhas, the ancient Tibetan monks, and the ancient Toltecs were the ancient dream yoga practitioner, yogis, or whatever. Like, these people, and these were people that would spend excess amounts of time. They really understood and honored meditation. So it's, again, people can you can lucid dream, and I think some people might even just like unlock lucid dreaming. I've actually heard of this, where people are like, oh yeah, I lucid dream all the time, but then like, but I just don't like it. It's like, it's very weird. It's very, maybe like boundaryless. They do things that they burn themselves out, or there's many really deeply woven things that's explained a lot in these books, actually. Like, karmically, you can, if you can experience your dream realm endlessly without a heightened spiritual awareness, you can basically negatively impact your energetic state, your waking world. You can create, as they express, what is it, negative karmic bonds or something, where it's like, basically, it's like you're reinforcing negative karma in a very weird way in your dreams. It's really like, the essence of what I'm simply saying is, there's lucid dreaming on one hand, right? And then there's dream yoga on the other. They're not the same thing. Lucid dreaming is basically just like one little slim part of the practice. You enter a lucid dream, you're lucid inside of a dream. Congratulations, beautiful. Maybe you can do healthy, integrated, spiritual work, where you're integrating and creating a better relationship with your mind, your subconscious. But then there's the deeper realm of it. Like, think about it like this, right? Maybe you enter a lucid dream and you're like, wow, I'm really happy with flying around, and, I don't know, teleporting, and maybe making love to maybe people in your dreams or whatever that you really are attracted to, or something like that, right? Then that is a realm. But what if you think you go deeper, where you're just like healing yourself and other people in your life with energy? You're maybe like forging worlds, you're, honing meditative, complex practices in your dreams. Those are entirely different worlds. They require entirely different mentalities, right? One is just a person that's like, I am a lucid dreamer to some context, but they're not intentional. They're not integrated on a deeper level. And then the other person is like a person that's like mastering the art of dreaming. And I really think they're fundamentally like, one is an intentional path, the other is less intentional. I dream all the time, vividly at times. Very nice, sometimes prophetic, hard to control and decipher. That's very interesting. That's beautiful. Honestly, I mean, hey, this is what this is this is beautiful to think about. These are beautiful things to talk about. This is almost full circle, reinforcing what I was talking about. What I think has greatly contributed to awakening lucidity in my own world is these kind of philosophical talks, these discussions, like these deep dives, holding space for pulling these threads, whether we're talking about metaphysical, etc., etc. this is personally, I think, has been in part what's responsible for becoming lucid. What men call chance is simply ignorance of causes, okay? And if the statement is that something that has happened by chance were meant as no cause, it would be contradiction in terms. Rhyme. Yeah, no, I can agree with that. Yeah. I mean, if people don't necessarily understand the ability or their power of their choices, they think things are all random. They don't understand the interrelatedness of things. Then people would just think it's a chance. It's like it's all random. It's just a coincidence, right? The ignorance of causes. Yeah, that's a weird thing. I'll be honest. Like, we could look at reality sometimes, and be like, wow, like I'm a lucky person because of a intimate partner, or maybe you win money or something. I don't know. I've never gambled in my life, truthfully. Well, I did it once, won money, but wasn't that fun. But yeah, I think chance is an illusion. Like it's a weird if we're going down that rabbit hole. I never meditate. It's too much. Interesting. It's too much. That's fair. That's fair. I don't know. I don't meditate because it's too much, but I think there's a lot of reasons that we, for whatever reason, don't truly meditate. Yeah. I think once I exit the stream, I'm going to meditate. True ideas do not change or develop, but remain as they are in timeless present. Rene Guignon. Rene Guignon. I'm going to write that down. Well, type it in my computer. I don't write down stuff. Yeah, you were talking about that dream quite a lot earlier. So, Rene Guignon is a French intellectual who wrote metaphysics, esoterics, symbolism, and initiation. Well, that's cool. I gotta say, I like that. We like that. The truth is not change or develop, but remain. I agree with this. I agree with this 100%. Yeah. Yeah. I keep trying to remember the vivid dream. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think the nature of remembering dreams is not a thing we have a lot of. I don't know. I'm not an expert on that, but I remember dreams in waves. I sometimes have days where I wake up and remember years and years and years worth of dreams. I don't really have much conscious control over it. It's beautiful, though. I think the brain and the mind itself is something, surely, that we can, like, hone and really develop, but, yeah. 1142 subs, yeah, let's go. Don't mind me, I'm just shamelessly going through my channel. Just appreciating the nuances of the algorithm. Oh yeah. Everything's just as I left it. The character I ran into believes was the same guy that I told I've been attempting to find or dream up. Nice. Fair enough. Yeah, thanks for chiming in, brother. Yeah. I think we're probably going to close up. And exit the stream the next, 5 minutes. 5 minutes. I think it's high time. Got some human stuff to do. Yeah. Character inside of a dream. All I can say to that is a lot of the lucid dreaming book that I speak of, like the dream philosophy, is really open about, the essence of learning to awaken lucid dreams has a lot to do with studying your dreams. Studying them, thinking about them. It's basically what a lot of Andrew Holosek speaks of is a core practice that we're trying to do. The whole key idea, like the whole core practice in general, countdown's on. Sick, dude. I mean, we're roughly 5 minutes. The whole core practice of lucid dreaming is literally to try to trigger, lucidity. You're triggering lucidity in every which way imaginable. And guess what? There's many, 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 many different ways. Many different ways. Let's flip this a little bit. It's like whether you have reoccurring symbols in your dreams, whether you have reoccurring anomalies. Something occurs, you're like, oh, this is impossible. Boom. You wake up, you've gone lucid, Just like what happened to me last night. Something that was like a seemingly anomalic thing. But beyond that, it was more like it was an anomaly, but I also recognized immediately that it was an anomaly. And that was significant. Because the thing is, we go through dreams all the time, right? Weird things happen. Strange, bizarre things happen. Our brain never thinks twice. But then why is it, and this is what I'm asking myself and just, speaking, thinking aloud. How and why is it that in some instances our mind picks up on that? Even last night, I have no idea for the life of me why my mind pointed out. I saw this dream. I was conscious in it where I was like, oh, this cake says this. In real life, I'm this. Suddenly, bang, I was like, I must be dreaming. I must be inside of a lucid dream. What incurred that? What? I really can't say. It's like almost like you can study your dreams, but there's another factor of how your subconscious mind is processing the ability to go lucid that I think goes way beyond the conscious mind. And I think the key is to try to integrate that, understand it on an intuitive level. The topic context. Yo, what's poppin'? Characters I've been interacting with. I mean, long story short, I was just talking about basically the nature of going lucid in lucid dreams. I was going off in many different tangents. Like, there was some friends that were here earlier that were kind of just talking about metaphysical philosophy, but I was kind of just expressing how I had my first lucid dream yesterday. Well, last night. And the more I try to understand, like I try to pull these threads of, okay, what exactly happened in my life, in my waking world? Like, what pivotal things? I'll be honest, there's probably a lot of things that are attributing to this positively. But it's almost what I'm simply saying is, for whatever reason, my subconscious received the message to be lucid enough in my everyday waking world. Almost like what we're doing right now, or what I'm doing. It's like, I'm pulling these threads of introducing a conscious awareness to the concept of lucidity. Even just doing this, I'm like, okay, let's think about why I went to lucid, how this occurred. It's introducing lucidity, right? But anyway, something happened in such a pivotal way that I experienced that first burst of going lucid, which was cool. I don't know. You can probably see low key. I'm just like, whoa, I'm fascinated. I don't know what the fuck. Yeah. Yeah, you just take it with a grain of salt, my dog. Take it with a grain of salt. So how do you stop others from invading your dreams? Anyone? Wow. Well, your dream world is clearly a reflection of your waking subconscious world. So energetic boundaries, I would imagine. I've actually never had people invade my dreams. Maybe not never, but not for a long ass time. So I think innately that may be an invitation from your subconscious to enforce stronger energetic boundaries. Being increasingly conscious of what you're absorbing, whose narratives you're absorbing. Because, of course, the dream world is literally just you. It's a reflection of you. It's an amplified lens into your subconscious, right? People are different. My 2 cents is just go slow. Yeah. Yeah. What do you think will happen if you fall asleep in your dream? I mean, I think I've had that happen. I'm pretty sure I've had that happen. Fall asleep in your dream, you go into another dream. Yeah, you go into, I've had dreams. I actually had this weird instance where, very strange experience, like 10 years ago. I don't know why I'm remembering this, but basically I had a bacteria infection. Right? I took, what's it called? That one medication that clears bacteria infections. One of them, like not minocycline. It's that one very quintessential thing you're prescribed for a bacteria infection. It's that one medication that's got like an I don't know what it's called. But the idea is, okay, when I had this happen, right? I took this medication, cleared my bacteria infection. When I went to sleep, I had the most bizarre dreams I've had in a long time, where basically I had an infinite loop of probably like 50, 60 vivid dreams that I would continuously cycle through, wake up through, cycle through, wake up through, cycle through, over and over and over again. It was very bizarre. And I remembered every single dream. I remembered waking up in every single dream, thinking I woke up, and it happened over and over and over again. Very bizarre experience. And basically, in the world of lucid dreaming, it's called a false awakening. At least that's what I'm pretty sure that's what, Andrew Holsek called it. It's false awakening. You think you woke up, and yeah, and it's the same thing. I imagine if you go to sleep, it's like you go to sleep, you think you're, going asleep again, you go into another dream state, and you're doing the opposite of a false awakening. Yeah, yeah. This is so unexpected to hear other people talk about this. I suppose, I don't know. I had dreams where I had myself wake up in dreams, and I was like, still dreaming. Yeah, yeah. I think that's just a weird dreams. Like this is the thing. We're talking about lucid dream. Or we're talking about dreams. Your subconscious mind. So all dreams, anything and everything can happen. Like everything applies. Like when you begin to understand what lucid dreams are, you literally realize that you unlock a portal to experience everything and anything. Everything that's actually beyond the sensory experience. That's why, like, a lot of these, when I'm talking, I'm reading this book and I'm talking about, oh, I'm reading a book about lucid dreaming. A lot of the times I just go off in tangents talking about metaphysical philosophy. Why? Because it's all deeply relevant, right? Once you eventually unlock the lucid dream realm in a very heightened way, you're basically unlocking an infinite portal into experiencing the higher dimensions. That is the quantum world. It's the same with a lot of like, esoteric, altered states of consciousness. You're just entering the quantum. Quantum's infinite. Quantum, you can literally do anything. It's pretty wild. Had a weird ass dream when I was quitting smoking weed. Now that checks out. That checks out. Whew. Do you ever have reoccurring dreams of people you've never met? And what does that mean? Not a lot, bro. Nah, I mean, or miss. Honestly, reoccurring dreams of people I've never met. I don't have reoccurring dreams. I think reoccurring dreams, as a kid, I had them when I was unpackaging repressed memories. But I don't know. I'm not a dream expert, but I think from what I understand, reoccurring dreams are repressed memories. It's repression. Like your mind is trying to process a repressed memory. Again, I don't know. I'm not the guy to go to, but aren't you kind of scared of the quantum stuff? Nope. Nope. I mean, this is the thing to Daniel is I've spoken this very openly on my streams very often is I'm a very rooted dude. Like my brain, my consciousness is very rooted in the 3D. I and of course maybe part of this is, I've entered altered states. I've done high doses of mushrooms, changa, etc., etc. I've developed a healthy relationship where I trust that I am rooted in this 3D. I trust my relationship so heavily that is just rooted in the 3D. Like I've actually had friends reflect this back to me where they're like, "Wow, you're very like rooted in the 3D. Like you're just like it's like you're grounded. You're a grounded earth-based energy. It's like the way you are is just so rooted." And that kind of blew my mind. Where I was like, "Huh." I'm like, "Damn, that's wild." But the fact of the matter is, yeah, some people they're not that way. They're very like astral. They're very external. They float away for lack of a better word. Not me though. I'm very like I'm in this 3D. I'm very confident in that. So when I desired like my exploration, like all right, let's like think about these things. Let's explore. It comes from an immense amount of awareness of the fact of how rooted I am in 3D. And a part of this actually, if we're gonna really like talk about that, there's a reason. There's a reason why I'm rooted in this 3D, right? There's many reasons, I'm sure, but like when I connect with my body, be it through dance, through strength training, movement training, when I'm creating music, right? That's the simplest way I can answer this is I have a very deeply heightened relationship with my body, with my vessel. That's what roots me in the 3D, right? I'm very connected to my body. And if I were to say enter a altered state, if I were to be in a place that was like, wow, this is like overwhelming, this is so intense, this is scary. I know that I can trust my body. I know that my body is my vessel. I know that it is my home, right? I trust that I can breathe, I can move, I can create portals, I can do whatever I desire, right? But I realize that my body is safe, right? It's my home. I'm rooted within it. I experienced dreams that were so real that I hoped it was a dream. That's pretty bonkers. Not in the least, but what is there to be scared about? See, that's exactly it, Rainbow. Because without going on too deep of a tangent, 1000% is there was a time, when I was sitting with Changa, which is, plant version of DMT, right? The very first time I did this about 7, 8 years ago, and I don't do this frequently, but the core message that I took away from sitting with this medicine was literally the very same thing. Basically, that there is nothing to fear in this existence. And I'll be honest, the very first time that I embarked on this journey of sitting with Changa, Changa DMT, there was a lot of human fear. There was a lot. I also did a pretty moderate dose. I had a person do like a beautiful ceremony. I felt like this was a very powerful moment, but the initial first experience was met with so much fear. The initial feeling was like a quarter of a second after I smoked this Changa, everything melted away. And I remember thinking to myself, what have I done? Like, what have I done? Like, this is bad. This is horrendous. This is terrifying, right? But what I realized was that was my own human fear coming to the surface. That was my own projection, my own fear of death, my own fear of everything that I can imagine is that I'm fearful in this human realm, immediately hitting me, immediately processing and coming to the surface. And I remember feeling that way. I saw some interesting Mayan visuals, and I kind of zoomed out for a bit, came back, went back to my body, and was kind of just like staring into the moon. And then I felt very clear, very raw, very confident, very calm. And fast forward, all the times that I've ever done Changa, the same thing happens. I go into the state telling myself, there's nothing to fear. Truly, like ultimately, there is nothing to fear in this world. And yeah, that's the truth. Like you think there's something to fear. You might think it's so scary to leave this world, to even to pass away, and that's a normal human experience. It's a normal human fear. But ultimately, you'll come to a deeper conclusion. Maybe you will, maybe you won't. That there is nothing to fear. There never was. There's never been anything to fear. So, yeah, the fear is an illusion. It's pretty deep. Whoa, how did I develop that with shrooms, without shrooms? Oh. I don't know, bro. That's impressive. That's impressive. Yeah. I basically experienced what's called non-psychosis, but with medical delirium. Wow. Wow. Non-psychosis with medical delirium. Yeah, I mean, my limited understanding of delirium is it's not very, yeah, interesting, Flood. That's what I'll call it too. Nothing to fear exactly. Yeah. No, that's yeah. No, I just don't. Yeah, I just the only thing I can think of is my connection to understanding what deliriants are. Never done deliriants. Well, salvia is technically one, I think, but done very low doses of salvia. Nothing happened really, but I've researched heavily on Reddit, for fun. Like, what are deliriants? Things like Nightshade and what's the one called? Datura. That's the famous deliriant. And I don't know, man. I think if we're gonna, yeah, anything to do with deliriant, I don't think that's not the same thing that's akin to what you're speaking of, I imagine, but similar. That just seems like not a good time. Not a state of the human experience that we were ever meant to experience. Maybe it can teach us things. Maybe we can like find some sort of clarity and equanimity, but I don't know. I I think that's just like almost like spiritual regression, if I'll be perfectly honest. Like, I think it's almost like if we can take a page of observing objectively what deliriants do, not that we'll observe that too heavily. I think it's like spiritual regression. It's like it's almost like it actually is like closing the doors of what spirituality may or may not uh, try to offer you. Maybe with the piece of trying to allow you to awaken them ultimately. But man, I don't know, man. That's a weird one. That's a weird rabbit hole. No, I yeah, it's any religion to grounds to the experience. A religion that grounds the experience. I'm sure religion. I'm sure religion could ground that experience. Maybe not for the better, but I don't know. Yeah, it's a thing. Like again, I think of this very lightly with an open heart. Those that for some reason choose to say enter, delirium through deliriance. It's I don't know. It's almost like because this is the thing. I'll speak very openly about this, right? I actually think I've spoken this very openly. To enter a very powerful altered state of consciousness, say, you're like, okay, let's wake up, let's do some DMT or something, or let's do 6 grams of mushrooms. Let's be real here. Often that decision comes from desperation. It comes from desperation. It comes from like existential fear, like true fear, true desperation. Um, where you just look at reality and you're like, wow, I can't go on. This is like life is it's just not it's no bueno, right? You were like, I need to see something deeper. And I think things like deliriance, maybe some people, I don't know, I can't speak for those that make those decisions. I think it's a bad idea no matter what, but it may be just this is their way out. They're just like, man, I see no other way to achieve some sort of altered state. And sadly, they're like, okay, let's find deliriance. And it's like a subpar way of achieving an actual spiritual realm of breakthrough. Yeah. If you're not careful, you're opening doors that shouldn't be open. It is as simple as that, Rainbow. It is as simple as that. I mean, that's a deeply woven thing, where it's not just about opening doors that shouldn't be open. It's about creating a fundamental disharmony with like your human and astral experience. It's like we are humans, right? We're humans. We're supposed to be rooted in this 3D reality, right? We need to be. That's what keeps us here. We're here for this. It gives us perspective. If we were to remove too far away from what that means to be a human, then eventually, of course, it's not gonna be fun. It's gonna be a bad time. Great way to explain it's the Matrix. Hell yeah, dude. Yeah, I mean, deliriums, right? Deliriants. They're just weird ass plants and seeds and strange compounds that happens to exist that basically are subcategories, if I'm not mistaken, that are like a subcategory of a psychedelic. That psychedelics, what is it? Like they have a weird explanation. That's like a psychedelic makes you hallucinate, right? It makes you perceive things that aren't there. Deliriums actually convince your brain that things are actually there. And so it takes it to another place, which low key just makes you go crazy. Like that's kind of the weird part about it. I don't know. It's not cool. Don't don't ever do deliriance, ladies and gentlemen. We don't advocate deliriance. They're just a weird, bizarre part of nature. And it's strange because there's like ancient cultures that apparently use deliriance in small doses as ancient medicine, right? They're like, oh, this is ancient medicine that could be used reverently or in a revered way, but I don't know. Yeah, no thanks. No thanks. No thanks. Just no. Just say no. Beautiful. 6:34. Amazing. Magic. Well, tell us more about Floyd. Tell us more about it, Floyd. Ah, yes. Yeah, I can say confidently, Floyd's an interesting dude, like, very much. Oh, what's happening here? Like, I think once he pulls some threads and, leans into his empowerment, he's gonna do some dope stuff. Most definitely. Let's see. What am I doing here? Customize channel. uh, Amazing. You should be the next Harry Potter. Whoa, what? I would be happy to be the next Harry Potter, but I don't know. I'm probably not gonna be a professional actor. I had a panic attack before going to sleep and made me have half dreams. Damn, that's crazy, dog. Yeah, that's honestly the state we enter before we dream. Very, very vital. All right, we're gonna take some oil of oregano. Sweet. So when I came outside the realm, my house was fogged and the door was open. Hmm. Hold up. Oh yeah, when I seen out the entity spoke and tried to kill me. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And it seems like you need more warmth in your life, my friend. Like, I say that with wholeheartedly, like, I wish for you to find that nourishment, that warmth in your life, you know? Because it seems like, yeah, that's, the world, three-dimensional reality is a pretty chaotic place, my friend. It's just like, it really is. And, once we begin to align ourselves with, like, beauty, with bliss, with euphoria, with warmth, in the human experience, not talking about, like, just using drugs per se, then life can become an extraordinary, extraordinary realm. We all deserve to have abundance of warmth, of a sort of a deeper dimension of what this world can offer us in a blissful way. Sure, this world is like harrowing, our psyche can be like a very intense place, but also this world is beautiful. This three-dimensional reality, it's is something that we can make, like what's the word? We can make it blissful. We can make it a euphoria. Healthy sleep supplement recommendations. You always quote Osho. I used to do the same whenever I had a question. I would take one of his books and ask me to guide me. Yo, that's awesome. Guitar Meditations. Legendary name. Yeah, brother, I deeply resonate with Osho. A lot of Osho's perspectives, particularly his ones about love, about fear, about, well, love relating to sexual energy, relationships, creativity. A lot of his core philosophies have changed my life. Yeah, I love Osho. Brilliant, brilliant individual. His books are very incredible. Highly recommend. Shout out Osho. And he slips up on my recommendations. I mean, yeah, I take Damiana. I take this stuff. Damiana. Sponsor me, Damiana. Nah, I don't want to get sponsored. But yeah, I take Damiana every night. Very great. Microdose Damiana. It's very subtle. It's very good for your heightened sleep. Ashwagandha. Extremely good for your adrenals. Extremely good for sleep. Microdose ashwagandha very frequently. And beyond that, just train hard. Yeah. Go to the gym, lift some weights, strength train, push yourself to destruction. Doesn't matter what time it is, get in the gym. That will translate in better sleep. Unequivocally. Yeah. Unique guy, and I'm a painter. That's awesome, bro. But yeah, dog, I'd recommend this. Heck yeah. Very cool. Yeah, my name is also Ryan. Yeah, yeah. To the fellow Ryan. Asé is my moniker, but yeah, one Ryan to another, what's poppin'? But yeah, what kind of stuff do we paint? What does he paint? Ah, yeah. Why don't I just leave my hair down? I mean, it just kind of gets in my way, yeah. My hair is like, it's like down to about there. I want to get it cut though, so it's about to there. But yeah. My delivery is on its way. Whoa. Yeah. I don't know. It's low-key a cop-out, but it's also... What's going on here? I'm also an athlete, and I do lots of, like, movements, handstands, lots of stuff. I've kind of just made it a thing. Dispatch, bro. This is awesome. Huh. Anyways, yeah. What color is it? My hair? It's, you know, dirty blonde, yeah. Dirty blonde. Yes, sir. Lens apparent during the day. Nice. Yeah, bruv. Shout out to Ryan's. We doing it right. We're doing it right. Ryan's of this world. Very nice. Man, I'm trying to figure out still how I can integrate this beautiful dice. I bought this the other day at this weird game store where this really dope, like, European chick worked there. Had red hair and cool style. But I'm just thinking, like, how can I integrate this dice? 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just chaos, brothers. Freaking 7. 7. I don't know. Means something profound. I don't know. Maybe 7 means philosophical truth. Philosophical truth. Okay, 7 will mean philosophical truth. I don't know. I'm making shit up. All right, philosophical truth. This world is not one-dimensional. Okay, that's philosophical truth. All right. Rolled 10. Okay, 10 means strike the tingsa. Hell yeah. Or any resonance pattern, resonance instrument. So 7's philosophical truth, 10 is resonance instrument. I'm just making up stuff. 2 rhymes don't make a wrong. Facts, yeah. All day long. Yeah. What are those bells? This is a tingsha. Yeah. Very beautiful one. Probably the favorite, or my favorite, the best tingsha I've ever heard. It's like very pure sound. Beautiful sustain. It's basically a sound healing instrument. Yeah. Often they like have them in Buddhist temples and stuff like that. All right, so next 5. All right, 5. I don't know. 5 will be dance combo, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. That's what we're doing, bro. 12. Okay. 12. 12 is this. All right, 12 is this guy. This is 12. Okay. So 7 is philosophical truth. 10 is sound instrument. 12 is this baby. 18. Oh, okay. 18. 18, percussive instrument. Okay. I don't know what I'm doing. Here. 3. Okay, 3. 3 is definitely going to be slap harmonics. Wow, that's way out of tune. Okay, so 3 is slap harmonics. 11. Oh, okay. 11 has to also be a philosophical truth. Or spiritual truth as a whole. Yeah, spiritual truths. Okay, 11 is spiritual truth. I don't know, we're making up this shit on the spot. I like it though. This is coming together. If you may or may not, be familiar, I do a lot of things completely random and intuitive. I don't really think things through very intentionally. So whatever my brain wants to do. Okay, so number 11, spiritual truth. 7, philosophical truth. 13, sound healing instrument. 18. What was 18? Percussive hits? Yeah, 18 was percussive hits. I don't know. I think I messed it up, but we're near there. We're near there. 18. Oh, damn. We got 18 again. We'll figure this out. Oh, damn. 7. Nice. 7's philosophical truth. All right. Everything's an illusion. Everything's an illusion, guys. Life's not real. Philosophical truth. Oh, 3. Oh, okay. What was 3 again? I think 3 was sound instruments. We'll get that. We'll get this down. We'll get this down. 13. 13 was... Huh. I think it was this guy. This was 13. How do you play outside with your guitar? The reverb is for my tone wood amp, yeah. Tone wood amp, bruv. Welcome, Xavier. Welcome. This baby. Basically, it's a miniature preamp that magnetically attaches. I just flip it on, just like this. Oh, we're out of tune. Way out of tune there. But yeah, bro. It's a tone wood amp. Highly recommend. Shout out Tone Wood Amp. Please sponsor me. No, they're not going to sponsor me. Not until I got 100,000 subscribers. Then they will. Probably. Oh. God dang. Alright, now we're in tune there. That was 12. What? Oh, we got a 1. We got a number 1. Okay, what is 1? 1 is probably tapping combos. Oh no, 1 is artificial harmonics. So harmonics. Always, all day long. What is this? What? 18. All right, 18. What was 18 again? Percussive hits. I don't know. This isn't a game I'll probably play too much. I'm gonna figure out some creative way, bro. May it continue to be nice. Hell yeah. Exceptional. Thanks, Xavier. Do I sing? I do sing. Not commonly on the stream, though. Yeah. Singing is kind of like a very sacred thing to me. Usually when I'm songwriting, kind of just flowing through. But yeah, I don't do much singing performance. Maybe in the future, once I like hone some singing performances, or do some like vocal improv. But yeah. Perhaps another time. Perhaps another time. Oh, whoa. Just knocking over this baby. I'm looking forward to making my bandana. That's gonna perfectly situate this baby. So there must be something else there. So how about pick a random word for every roll and rhyme on it, every spin? Maybe. But that seems, I'll be honest, that seems a little bit easy. I think what I thought of is one part of what I might do is I'll be improvising guitar, and the letter will represent, you know, the fret. And I'm basically going to improvise on top of that. That's one thought. But I think what I've just tried to do is I'm connecting every single dot or every number to an action that is engaging within my musical sphere or my improv sphere. Sort of what I do already. But then I'll just be hit with chaos. Because the chaos dice. So it's like freaking 16. I don't know. 16 will be, maybe this thing. Sound healing forks. I don't know. Not sure this is a good idea or not. I don't know. I'm leaving Samaritan text these days for my paintings. Samaritan text. That's pretty tight. Yeah. Spiritual Samaritan. The ethno-religious group emerging from the Hebrews and Israelites, ancient Near East, indigenous to Samaria. Ah, Samaritan. What are the texts? Ah, it's ancient Hebrew stuff. Right, okay. Well, that's fun. All right. 16. What the fuck was 16? I'm gonna assume it was this baby. Hell yeah. We love art. We love art on the stream. All day long. Magic. All right. Man, watch hours is such a mindfuck. It's just cold hard facts. All right. Magic. I'm trying to think. Either I want to maybe go play some piano, or I might just start eating food next to the stream. Seems like a high time to go, but Xavier's a gem. Honestly, every single time since the moment he's been here, constantly just like literally just giving good energy. Just yeah, stellar human being. We love having Xavier here. Flip off the heat. Take us to the piano. I think that's the move. Though that being said, if there's people upstairs that are just like, you know, being really noisy, then it's probably we'll have to exit the stream. I think probably what will happen is I'll end the stream preemptively after I play some piano, and then we'll probably feel into, you know, doing real human world stuff, and then we'll probably do a late night stream. Like we'll wait till about 10 o'clock, and then clue into the 10 o'clock crowd. Because hell yeah. Hey, thank you, dog. The 70s. That's pretty dope. I have to say, I'm a deeply resonant dude with the 70s and 80s. Yeah. Hello. thank you.
that should have happened. And it's very clear in your recipes concept that all has happened in that one time.
The original needs $3,000 in the next 30 days. Who's to say you'll be one of them by signing up today? Available shipping to your online. And I know you agree. Please make this the moment that you say, I won't stand by while they suffer. Help fill their hole too. Go online, call, or scan this code right now. What do we do now? We wait. Can I help you in the supervised area? Yes, we respect the record of United States Customs Service. It's all the stuff based on Customs Army. No, this is the bonded area. Well, then tell me something. Answer questions for me. How about a black man, just like me, just born GTA West, walk into the bonded area, start walking around without anyone asking me any questions whatsoever? Why, no. Well, thank goodness. Yes, yes, I was looking for you. I just give me your ID number. Somebody's gonna be for shopping behind this. This guy gave me a match. You think that good? You gave him a match? Listen to me. I do security checks all over the nation. With the exception of Cleveland. This place has the worst security in the nation. Now, I suggest you guys call your wife, who's gonna be here all night. We're gonna check the background.
Yeah. Hey, I appreciate that. The future. Whoa. Wow. Wow. Yeah, I appreciate that, Daniel. I mean, yeah, honestly, I haven't really. I feel like, what I primarily like to do in this community is I have a deep rooted intention. I'm here with an intention. I like to enforce healthy boundaries. I like to invite people that are like aligned in such a way, but also I don't, I let people speak their mind. I want to invite free will. I think those kind of core parts of it seem to attract dope human beings. Like, I don't even try, man. I don't even like, yeah. I mean, I do try, obviously, but it's like I'm basically just trying to create reflections, you know? And that's great. I think that's, it translates. It translates. And also the music community is dope. Like, shout out music community. Was a great person to have in this community. Absolutely. Absolutely. Can you see the future? Huh. Prodigy. Thank you. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, brother. That's, yeah. I am a huge fan of the piano. It's a beautiful thing. Yeah. Am I some sort of circus performer? I actually am, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm a fire acrobatic performer as well. I'm a guitarist primarily, but I also do a like circus type performance. I trained the steer wheel for actually about a year. Hurt myself, unfortunately, broke my wheel, but yeah, I'm a performance artist. I do dance, acrobatics, bit of acting here, lots of music. I just perform. I'm a performance artist. That's like my world. It's great. I see lies and confusion, hidden truths. I see someone blocking my path on purpose. Hmm. Hmm. No. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. That's good. I mean, I think if there's anything we can learn, from the random 1% of trolls that like to come on this YouTube streams, because everyone's welcome, everyone can do whatever they want. Um, you know, it's like people like to cast projections. Like people like to do that. They just throw projections. The more we could acknowledge that people will project, but we as human beings are allowed to create boundaries. We're allowed to honor our boundaries, honor our truth. People will inevitably sort of almost like absorb their own sort of projections back. And obviously, there's many different nuances. But as a streamer, the more I have to like do some mental jujitsu with some people, and basically just take it with take people with a grain of salt. If people want to cast negative projections or project all day long, hey, that's their prerogative, right? I'll just use it as an example to practice, like, basically stand-up comedy. uh, I'm a performance artist in my own. I'm a performance artist in any, but just through painting. Yeah, that's tight, bro. Anything, artistry, expression. Yeah. How did you get into the performance art thing? Basically community. Yeah. I mean, I've been training, like I've been doing dance, acrobatics, like martial forms, free form movement, probably about 16 years just for fun, right? And then I just met other performance artists who are very talented. Like I made friends with people who are fire artists and, circus artists and acrobats. And then I just realized I was like, damn, like this is cool. I don't I focus many things in different, things. Like I've injured myself too. Training parkour, training circus props, training martial forms. I feel like I operate in a very unorthodox way where, I kind of just flow. Where I'm like, some years I'm focusing heavily on one particular dimension of healing, of expansion, of growth, and I just kind of, you know, allow myself to, what's the word? Really just shape or carve my path with passion and yeah, tenacity. It's almost like, I listen to the passion. Where's the passion? Where's it guiding me? This year it was literally like 7 months ago, create a YouTube channel, grow a YouTube community, become a full-time YouTuber. And it's like that was the path. And I was like, okay, I got you. I hear you, universe. And then bang, bing bang boom. It's like here I am. It was really that way. I'm very good at carving paths. It's like, oh, we're gonna focus developing fire performance and doing parkour training this year. We'll do capoeira this year. Like I do many different modalities, and I think once you're on that path where you're juggling many different, very developed and advanced performance arts and athletic pursuits and whatever, music, this, that, the other, basically you have to become adept at making intelligent decisions and honoring what basically is the most resonant path for you in this immediate now. And once you get good at that, then life becomes easy. You're literally just like, oh, well, I'm just gonna follow this thread of passion. And then next thing you know, it awakens another pathway, and then they all start to flow into each other. And then that's Ikigai. I don't know. Yeah, that's what I do though. So here we are. This is the new one of the many beautiful paths that I've been on, and here we are, YouTube channel. And without stroking my own ego, I'm a kind of dude who I get things done, If it's like if I say something's gonna happen, I make it happen, It's like I'm like, all right, I'm gonna be a YouTuber. Hey, let's do this. And then it's just like I put all my energy into something until I succeed. It's just kind of how I've done stuff. Yeah. Mental jujitsu. Yeah, dog. It's just like the real jujitsu, except for we're doing it, with psychology and social dynamics. I love jujitsu. I actually trained jujitsu for about 7 years. You become stuff, just like what Ryan's doing with painting. Yeah. Yeah. Heck yeah. How are you? I'm excellent, unless you're referring to another person. I don't know. Yeah. Nah, but I'm pretty good. I think we're going to probably put a close to the stream because it's coming to high time. It always feels weird to exit the stream when we're in a room full of people, but there we are, brothers and sisters, honoring sacred boundaries. Yeah. What can we do? I'll probably be back in the next couple hours. Yeah. Fair enough, dog. Fair enough. Be well. Now I'm going to exit in the next 5 minutes. Even though I said 5 minutes like 20 minutes ago. But, this is how we do. We're on the grind. We're for those watch hours, baby. We're literally, oh, what's this? We're grinding watch hours. That's our path, brothers and sisters. Got to get those 4,000 watch hours. Thank you, brother. We Ryans are pretty ambitious. Being able to discover its truth, spoken, following the unknown, is really obedient to our foundations as we heal. Yeah, it really is so, Xavier. I mean, 1,000% my dog. It's like, that's what I excel in many rights. I'm a very good, I am good at surrendering into the unknown. Like, I'm very good at just diving deep into unknown waters. I do it all the time, and it's very good. It serves me well. It reinforces sort of our awareness how the quantum operates, right? Unknown is where all the beautiful, new, unknown occurs. You know, you plunge into the unknown portals. That is where most of the universe is operating. That's how manifestation is operating. Outside of the known, you know, you're in this unknown, like complete, you know, unknown waters. I don't know. That kind of botched that last part, but sorry, I'm just reading something. Ah, 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 ah. Very nice. Appreciate you, brother. Yeah. I love the Yes owner. Ah, the Yes song, owner of a lonely heart. Nice line about personal identity. You are the move you make. Yeah. Oh, bro, it's yeah, good stuff. You know, people just reinforcing our thoughts, creating our reality endlessly, on and on and on and on. Like, man, it's good stuff, brothers and sisters. Like, just comes to show positive thinking, like genuinely beyond just like thinking optimistically, positive thinking, forming a reality, reinforcing a reality, rippling a reality, bouncing that off other people that are doing the same thing. Extraordinary stuff. Yeah, extraordinary stuff. We got the hat. Ah, magic. All right, I think this is high time, friends. Outro. Ah, man. Yes, outro. Thank you so much for chiming in. Deeply appreciate you guys. Yeah, just sharing your truth. Appreciate the support. Yeah, very much. Deeply appreciate this. If you guys resonate with this content, feel free to follow this channel. Yeah, I teach guitar. I do meditative sound journeys, among various things, you know? That's the facts. My friends and family have paintings in their homes. They don't realize going to haunting them for the paintings when I die. Yeah, metaphysical anomalies, yeah. Man, epic, bro. Sick, dude. Yeah, we're out here. We're making higher quality content, pulling those threads. You know, grinding out music. It's a beautiful existence, brothers and sisters. Such a beautiful existence. So happy to be here with you guys. Anyways, much love. Bless. I said the outro lines. Honor yourself and honor each other, as Wim Hof says. You know, or love each other and love yourself. Yes. Good words. Much love.